What are we gonna do today? Today we're gonna make some cute fall pumpkin guys. Let's get started.
So I have these cute little pumpkins. They have like a palm leaf over them or some sort of a raffia over these. And it has this fun stick in the center. I have these on my shop page. I'm going to show you some fun different ways to use them. Actually, they're adorable just as they are if you wanted to do nothing else with them. So I am going to be using my Summer Crush. This is my DIY paint. And I am going to paint this little guy. And it seems to paint up very nicely. And I'm just kind of going around and avoiding the stem. This would even be cute if you wanted just to add a little crow or a bird to the top. Okay, we're gonna let this little guy dry. So for the pumpkin eyes, I am using these. These are like almost like a brad tack. And they're just round, but you could cut small circles from cardstock, use the circle of a brad and break the piece off, or keep it, because I'm literally just gonna push these into the pumpkin. So if you use small round brads, you could literally just push it into the pumpkin and glue them in. And I carry this fun metal trim. So I just cut off of some of the scraps. It's got a little texture in there, but that's what I'm going to use for his nose. But you could also use, same thing, a piece of chipboard, corrugated cardstock, whatever you would like for his nose. Or not do that at all. Just leave him just as a pumpkin. I'm just going to paint these black. And let these guys dry. So my pumpkin's dry. I am going to add a coat of sealer over the top of this. And if you notice how it really enhances the color of the DIY paint. So I'm gonna let this dry. So this is dry. What I am gonna do is I am putting my black velvet DIY paint over the top, and then we are going to wipe it back. I'm gonna let this dry, and then we're gonna wipe it back. I'm just gonna use a baby wipe, and I'm gonna wipe back some of this black. So if you were doing this more for fall and not just Halloween time, you know, a brown would be really pretty over the top of this. I just figured since I'm putting a face on him, he becomes a little more Halloween-y. So I've got most of this off. I'm gonna just put a sealer on it real quick. Brings that beautiful orange out again. Let this dry real quickly, and then we're gonna put our face on. So I have these cute little bases I'm going to put him on. And I have these on my shop page. They remind me of the antique old frogs, the garden frogs or flower frogs they used to have. But it's just a tiny piece of wood with these little nails sticking up that you could put anything onto. You could even just use it for paper and put a tag in, a photograph. But it's gonna be really nice because he's gonna stick right on there and he's not gonna slide off. I'm gonna add just a teeny bit of this distress stamp to it, just to give it a little bit of interest. You can just leave them the wood color, paint them, and maybe I will add just a bit of antiquing. Add a sealer to the top. I'm gonna let this set. This is just kind of an idea I thought might be kind of fun. I'm just gonna do a little V here. And this is just a piece of paper. And I've cut this little tag. You can make it thinner, you can make it thicker. I'm gonna antique the edge. You could write a name on it for a name place setting, which would be really cute, or a fun saying, or just gratitude, or whatever you can think of that you might like to do. But it would be cute to add a name or something to this. I'm just gonna seal it real quick. Poke it through these holes carefully. Try not to poke your fingers in there. And I could roll that and see how cute that would be with your pumpkin on top of that. And a name could come off. So that's just one idea that I was just gonna show you. If you just wanted a pumpkin and a tag, that would be really, really, really cute. This is the side I'm gonna use for my face. figure out where I want to put my nose, and I'm going to glue my nose down first. So on the real silver side, I'm using my Titebond Quick and Thick, but depending what you're gluing down, you could probably use a variety of different glues. If you're using cardboard, I mean, almost anything would work. So here is his black nose. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to press this nose in a bit. Then I'm going to put in these little brad tack things. I'm just put a little glue in there, and I don't really need to because all I need to do is push this in and they stay pretty nicely. But if you were just using a plain brad, you could literally just poke the two ends of your brad into this paper pumpkin. I'm going to add a dot of white into his eyes, and I'm just going to use the back of my paintbrush. After the white dries, I'll do one more dot of black. So we'll let this dry real quick. So I cut this piece of paper, and I know it's scalloped at the edge, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to be cutting it. It's 14 by 2. You could probably use whatever size you would like. You just squish it up a little less. This is just like a newsprint paper. So you could use a tissue paper, you could use a decoupage paper, you could use a typing paper. You could use any type of paper you would like if you would like this collar on him. And I am just going to fold and fold and fold. So at this corner, and this is all folded edges, I'm cutting up, cutting a little triangle, cutting up, cutting a little triangle, cutting up, and then doing a half triangle. I have a half triangle here where your folds are, and these are just triangles I've cut out. And then when you open it up, you're getting something like this. So this is what it looks like right now. I want this to be more of a sagey green. So I'm just gonna take my paint. You could do watercolor paint. I'm gonna use my fancy Farm Girl. You could just use sage colored paper. That would make it the easiest. I'm gonna do both sides, and I'm not really worried about complete full coverage on this. I'm gonna add just a bit of my Vintage Photo Distress Oxide. Use my Vintage Textures again. And then I'm gonna seal this piece very quickly. And I'm just using my crystal clear sealer again. And it's just gonna move the antiquing around, and it's really gonna bring the color out on the paint. We'll let one side dry before I do the other. Okay, so I'm gonna use this for my front side, and I'm gonna take my glue stick and I'm gonna run it along this edge, flat edge on the back, and then all I'm gonna do is kind of go back and forth and do a fan fold just to squish this up. It's kind of like you're gathering the top, and I'm just squishing these pleats in. This is just going to start curving in a circle, which works really well. So these are all like pleated together, and it's a little bit of a tack on here because of the glue sticks on the back. It's sticking to this. But what I'm going to do next is take my Titebond and go over this edge, and in the center, start with that, and this is my front, so decide where I want him and press him down on here. See if this is dry and dry. You can either use a tiny black marker, or we can take our black paint, and there's just little black dots there. After the black dots dry, I'm gonna go over the top of this real quick. One more time with the sealer. Okay, so I just put another sealer over these, so it also seals the nose and the eyes. And then the last thing I'm gonna do is use a little bit of gold wax and just touch up around him. I just have a little bit of a gold paste wax, a gold wax, soft wax. And you can use Golden Rule through DIY or your favorite gold wax. And I'm just going, just lightly touching. I don't want like tons of sheen, just a little.
Wasn't that fun? Even if you don't paint them, aren't they adorable? We have these available on my shop page. they're limited, so you might just want to go take a look. We made a miniature crown for him. We're using our smaller trim, and if you look at some of the videos we've done bigger crowns. We did it the same, but with smaller trim. So your pumpkin guy could have a crown, or he could just be festive for fall. So some other ideas we had is we had put them on these wood bases, but you could also make a cloth body and add him on to make him into a doll. Put them on a skewer or a stick. Name tags, I mean, there's so many different ways you could just leave them as is, paint them without putting the face on, but I think these are just so cute. You could use them in so many ways. You probably could even take a heavy needle, long needle, and go through them and string them. Hope you guys give this a try, but whatever you do, have fun.